Okay, guys, welcome back. I am so sorry for this video. Please do not watch this film. I actually made myself watch it, and Loki's in the background, like, I'm impressed. This is a film by a known hate group, so please don't watch this shit. I swear we will stop doing this because I'm like, okay, at this point, the fucking film reviews are taking over the channel, and this shit's not right. What's going on? We watched The Accidental Activist. It's by a known hate group, so you know it's going to be intolerant and informed. And two, it's just bad because the gays are coming after you. But it's okay because your magical black friends will support you. I'm sorry to any black viewers, it is so bad. It is just, it starts out with this family trying to show that they are white and straight and wholesome. And they're playing this kind of Christian music, but there's a scary undercurrent like you would hear in a Jaws movie, like dun 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 dun, because gays are coming. Dun, 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 dun. And I get laughter back here. It's fucking ominous horror movie music. I'm like, oh my god, are like gay people going to assault this family? What's going to happen? And in case you can't fucking tell by the way I dress, I'm gay. Anyhow, I'm getting laughter back here. It's like, yeah, I usually get misread as lesbian, which is fine for me. I'm like, yeah, ladies, how you doing? So he's loosened up back here. So, in this movie about gay people, they go into a place selling hot dogs. I'm like, no wonder the gay people show up. Hot dogs, am I right? He's losing it. So we're making jokes about this film, so we're watching it. And they go and they are having ice cream at one point. And this is where this film gets fucking confusing because the dad's like, okay, we have to go to work. So they're running a lawn care business because this film is really fucking confusing, as you will see. And the children have to work in it, by the way. And the wife's going off to do straight white Christian stuff, whatever that may be, I forget. And they kind of split up, and he goes and he signs a petition for family values. Okay? Which is gay people can't get married. What the fuck? I don't want those gay people getting married because it will destroy my marriage. My fear had nothing to do with it. Yeah, Becker. And, he signs it, and for the longest time, nothing happens. But where this film doesn't make sense is he's talking about their lawn care business. Then, no, they don't have a lawn care business. They have a t-shirt business where they print t-shirts and mugs and shit. And I'm like, do they have both? Do they cut her lawn for free? Because they go to the black lady's house and she is, and please forgive me, this is a film term, the magical Negro of this film. Because she is wise and she has seen things like her daddy was killed by white people. They just never come out straight and say it, but she understands that the white people had to kill her daddy because that's how things were after slavery. And I'm like, oh, holy fuck, this film. And so there's actually another black character in this film because it's incredibly progressive, which is her son, who is the only other black character in this film. And he comes in to be the preacher at a church full of white racists that you see at the end, and you're like, those fuckers are white power racists. There's no way they're even Christian. These are fucking white power heathens. I'm calling it, because there's like skinheads watching him. I'm like, no fucking way these people are Christian. Anyhow, back to the film. Um, they have this business, and he has a friend. And the friend runs a coffee shop, and the friend's gay. He's so gay. He's all the gays. Yeah, he's like the straight actor watched a gay guy who just didn't present, and yet he's confused. He's like the confused gay person. He doesn't know how to gay. And he says this weird shit because at first I wasn't reading him as gay. I'm like, okay. And he tells the guy, "You're a boring straight man. You picked a John Wayne movie," and I'm like, "Oh shit, a John Wayne movie and a movie against gays. Oh my god." And remember all the enlightened stuff he said about black people too. He's just awesome when people open their mouths sometimes, yeah. And I'm getting it, Becker. And it turns out he's gay, and it comes out eventually that this guy signed the petition because somehow a gay newspaper got a copy of this petition, printed the names of everybody that signed it and where their addresses were. And for some reason, he is the only person that gets bothered for this. Everybody else got a free pass. The gays are really pissed at him. And his gay friend is actually the voice of gay reason in this film. He's like, "I'm pissed off at you." And he goes, "Why?" And he said, "Because I'm gay and you're saying I can't get married." He goes, "No, I'm saying I don't agree with it." And his friend's like, "Bitch, listen. What you signed said that you want a law passed that I can't get married." "Yeah, well, what's wrong with that? I'm Christian." Oh, Jesus Christ. He's so straight, I can't deal with him. I'm out. And so his friend leaves. And, it's just so fucking terrible a film because, they're presented as the victims. Because there's also an evil gay in this film. And the evil gay is leading the gay protesters who are going to show up and picket his business. And of course, like some gay person supposedly wrote bigot on his door, and I'm like, oh honey, no gay person wrote that. They would have wrote homophobic maybe, but they went for bigot here because they are also trying to wedge in that homophobic people aren't actually racist because there are two black characters in this film, and I'm like, I don't think I would have went with bigot. And they're trying to say, well, that's the right word over homophobic because they're not going to have the word homo in this this world. So I'm like, okay, we're going with that. All right. And the gay people, the gay protesters, are so cartoonish and so obviously straight people playing gays. There's this lesbian couple. You can just tell, okay? You can just tell. If you see actual lesbian couples, you can tell. This was like straight women going, "This is what they do, right? They hold hands. This isn't actually gay though, right? We can do this. We're actresses. We have to. We have to show the gay experience." I'm like, these women are so not in love. None of the gay people in this film could sell being gay. And they're just so shitty, and their signs are so fucking bad. I'm like, no gay person and ever did any of the protest signs in this, thing. And to show that they're innocent victims, they start Westboro chants, only they're against bigots. So they're chanting the Westboro chants, only they're against bigots, like, "God hates bigots! God hates bigots!" I'm like, holy fuck. The Westboro church is out there? They have a gay chapter? Really? I did not know. So yeah, it's really bad. And at the end of the film, the magical black lady explains to him she wants him to have a picture of her father that white people killed because, honestly, as a black Christian, something about gay is the new black? I'm like, what? I think if anybody ever said that, you are misreading it, but okay. And she, as a straight black Christian, am I getting that right? Straight, black, and Christian. Yeah, I'm getting that right. It's a lot to unpack in her character. She is pissed off that gay people would dare associate themselves with blackness because what blackness clearly is associated with, and her daddy getting killed by white people clearly associated with, is the current Christian struggle to take the rights away from other people. So he goes to this racist rally where the black preacher is standing by watching like, "You doing a good job, mister. You just keep doing that. I'm going to be back here and be a token character." And I'm like, oh, holy shit, this movie is so fucking offensive. And after all this, and he loses his business because the gays, the evil guys, And after all this shit, he has no job, no business. I don't think he's gonna go into a lawn cutting business. Nobody tells you. They're probably gonna lose everything. There's a woman who has a pro-life petition, and he goes and he signs it because being a cunt is protected by law in this country. And I'm like, you have a right to an opinion. Nobody fucking disagrees on that. It's when you try to make your opinions into laws that repress the actual rights of other people, not their ideology, their actual fucking rights. That's a problem. Why can't people explain this to you? And they're just, the whole film is like Christians go, the gays, the gays, and it's bad. And the gay friend is at least pissed off with him this whole film. He's like, I think you're fucking shit. And I think you're a horrible person because I've been your friend for years. And you don't think I can get married. And he's like, well, yeah, because I'm a Christian. So, you can't get married. I don't care if you're gay, but I don't want you gay people get married. And he's like, why? Why would it matter? And the gay guy's like, don't you see you don't have a right to take that choice away from me? Yeah, I do, because I'm a Christian. And it was just so fucking terrible. And I asked Loki, I said, why do we watch this fucking shit at this point? Because it's not what the channel is about. And we need to stop listening to the podcast to discuss these films, because I said it's starting to take us away from the channel. The channel's about pagans. And Loki's in the back. Well, if you think of it, it's kind of like about pagans. And I'm looking at Loki, and I'm like, oh yeah, all the other stuff they hate too. So it sort of is. I think it's the pagan interest in these movies that we're usually not the focus, thank Christ. But it's this thing of they hate us too. It's just this time they were hating the gays and the black people who didn't know their place. I'm so fucking sorry to black viewers. But it's a known hate group. And it is so fucking repugnant. I'm like, I don't care what you believe of me as a gay person or as a pagan. But when you go to sign laws, that is too fucking far to go. And it's like, this is what's scary about this country, that these people now feel like entitled babies, that their feelings are hurt if gay people get pissed off. And it's like, gay people got mad at you and that bothers you. You're literally taking away their marriage rights. And I'm like, these people obviously never actually looked into this. Because as a gay person, I can tell you, not even the fucking gay community would agree on whether or not we could get married. And you would be reading all the gay columns and everything, and I know how fucking gay that sounds, but you know what I mean. And there would be a few guys that they interviewed that you could tell not being able to get married was working out just fine for them, and they didn't want things to change because, let's admit it, there's always a few in every community. They were like, I don't need the ability to get married, and their partner is there like, we could get married. It would be so beautiful. I'm not marrying him. Yeah, it was like that. And I felt so bad for some of these partners because you could tell they thought that once it passed, their partner was going to marry them. And a lot of gay men were pissed off. And some gay men made it a thing of, you can't force me to marry him. I'm just here for whatever. I'm not marrying him. How fucking dare you? And it was always white guys. So it was like, men are trash in every community. Sorry, guys. And, it was a big thing. Now, even the gay community could agree on whether or not gay people could get married. And some people would say, well, it was because I'm a great gay Christian. Some people would say, well, it just shouldn't happen. And some people were like, I'm fine with not getting married. Don't you put that shit on me. No, I like not being married because, let's admit it. And then those are the people that you kind of look at them and you cock your head and you're like, are you even gay? Because you could do the straight thing without getting married too, right? And you can just change locks one day and be like, I'm sorry, I don't. And I'm getting laughter back here. But it's like, for the gay community, it was actually something that tore the gay community apart because nobody could fucking agree. Some people wanted people to be able to get married. Some people were like, no, I like things the way they are. I'm never marrying anybody. And some people thought it would be a bad thing because if we had the right to marry, then it was almost like a defeat. And I kind of see the logic in that. Like it was almost like something they were giving us, the intolerant straight people, to be clear. They were giving us this token. And they didn't fucking want it. And I don't blame them. I can see that logic. It's like, if we didn't have it before, fuck you, we don't want to know. I can see that logic. I can. And I was like, so it was a really weird film. And I keep asking Loki, why do we watch these films? And he's like, well, it always kind of ties back into how they don't tolerate pagans either. And I said, well, I think like some guilt is coming up because, this is not the channel to bash Jesus on. It's their unfair use of Jesus that bothers the fuck out of us. And really, Jesus wasn't really involved in this film. There were crosses in the house, 5 billion fucking candles for some reason, always, and all the lamps on all the time, but Jesus really wasn't a part of this. They just would mention being Christian, but they never fucking went to church. They never prayed with the Bible. Prayer wasn't a thing in this movie. It was just, I'm Christian because I say so. I'm that kind of Christian. I am so fucking Christian, I don't have to go to church. Church comes to me. And I'm like, it's the only kind of Christian I could figure out that they were. That Christian? Yeah. And it was just so fucking bad. I mean, there are decent Christian films out there that I will never cover because they're decent and they're kind of bland and they're in the middle of the road. And it's like, they're not particularly offensive and they're not particularly bad. This wasn't one of those. This was one of those, like, hate films that tried to be a Hallmark film, is what it was. Because they were trying to make the children look cute, and the children are just so fucking obnoxious all the fucking time. It was like children who aren't children, like child actors who have never actually been children, and are being taught by an adult that has never been around children what children act like. So they were just like, "Eh," every time they told them to do something. And they were whiny and grabby and self-centered. I'm like, yes, children can be like that, but every fucking time these kids were like never nice unless an adult was holding something over their head. And I'm like, but it was so offensive. And I have no idea how we wasted almost 20 minutes talking about it, but it was like, I guess it's part of Loki's process of like cleaning out all the deep-rooted shit that's in there, because if you grow up Christian and transfer to Catholicism, yeah, transfer to Catholicism, fucking Christ, transfer to paganism, you do sometimes transfer over without fucking dealing with your shit. And the church's stance on just about everything. So it's like, we're gonna watch these films until you're fucking okay talking about why that is wrong and why they can't get away with it just because they're Christian. It's like, who gives a fuck what the Pope thinks about gay people getting married or pro-choice or anything else? Go fuck yourself, old man. You're not even married. You don't get to say shit. So I'm getting back here. So, I think it's kind of like Loki's thing about having us do it on the channel. It's not, oh, we saw these other channels doing it, we have to do it too, because I made it clear that's why I didn't want to talk about films. It's, as a pagan, they're kind of good to watch them and kind of get all that deep-rooted shit out of your psyche. And I felt kind of guilty, like, I'm being mean to Jesus. And he's like, Jesus don't got shit to do with this. Just to remind pagans, actual Jesus outside of the church, actual Jesus wouldn't hate people. Actual Jesus wouldn't have been signing a petition to say who could get married or who couldn't. Actual Jesus wouldn't been doing things like slavery or anything else. And there are people that are going to find the Bible verse and go, yeah, well, look at this. And, the thing is, though, if you believe in Jesus as this peaceful kind of Buddha figure who was a teacher, I really don't see him being down with slavery or just one group of people having their rights because he hung out with everybody. I could be wrong on this, but yeah. It's not about being mean to actual Jesus. It's about being mean to perverted church Jesus who hates everybody, who doesn't worship him and doesn't do as he say. So it's that, and it has been a weird thing of watching these films of feeling like I'm picking on Jesus, and I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye bye.